Hello everyone, Heap here with another video, and 1 week ago I made a little challenge for people on the internet to guess the engine used in this demo. So if you want to try and guess before I show you, just check the video in the description. But 1 week has passed, and today I'm going to tell you what engine I used and how I made this all happen, the whole process. So all the graphical features such as PCSS and volumetric lights are detailed in that video, so check it out first. And in this video I will show you how I got everything done. So many, so there weren't many guesses. And both of the guesses were uh, telling me that I used CryEngine. Well, interesting guesses, but it's not true. What I used, in fact, was not CryEngine, was not Unreal, it was Unity. Yes, you can see this awesome shadowing inside Unity, you can see this awesome water inside Unity, and volumetric lights as well inside Unity. So everything is made inside Unity, and I will just show you how I did it. If you don't believe me, here's the thing. I zoomed out right now, and we have our Unity editor. So how I did this? First of all, here's the thing. Unity is the engine capable of doing such things. The engine is capable of having high graphics and good graphics and good performance. It just not put on the plate. Like in Unreal, you have all the post-processing enabled by default, and it looks amazing. On Unity, you need to manually set the post-processing. In Unity, you have to manually find these awesome shadows. Well, Unity team, you could do better. Add these kind of shadows. Thank you. And all the volumetric lights, they're all there. You just have to find them. That's the thing that I started to be able to do after using Unity for over 5 years. So now I'm able to find all these things, not only because I use Unity for over 5 years, but also because these things start to pop up. Because 2 years ago, there definitely wasn't these shadows and volumetric lights, but now they are here. So let me just show you where did I get all these things. First of all, let's begin with volumetric lights. This GitHub page, it's on BSD3 clause license, and basically means you can use it in your commercial project, and it's amazing. So there are actually multiple volumetric light solutions. If I go back, there is, first of all, the first one, just type GitHub. Well, the first one was oh, it's gone. Well, the first one was available quite a while back, but it does not work on OpenGL, at least at that point in time. Unity broke it and it did not work. Then these volumetric lights came out, which are amazing. Some problems with build projects, sometimes the lights don't appear, you have to manually add shaders. And then Unity came up with their own implementation, which I would say is worse than these. But this implementation also adds tube lights and all sorts of things which are really cool. All this noise. Also, these ones also has noise, but Unity also has a nice implementation, which is not inside the engine by default. That's the point. Unity made this thing available, but they are not bundled with the engine. then I will get back to what's made by Unity and not bundled in later. So PCSS, all these soft realistic shadows, is available here under MIT license. Basically means you can do whatever you want with it, and it looks amazing. So the limitations are really, really, really clear. It only works with directional light sources, and he's looking at replacing this thing to make spot and point lights also have this filtering, but directional lights is enough, definitely enough. And yeah, it says it works with both 5.5 and 5.6, and I guess maybe even with 2017. And yep, these shadows are amazing. Just put it into your project. I will show you how to do it. Then we have clouds. I initially wanted to use these clouds, Code 8 clouds. They are gorgeous. Just look at the video. Look at this. It looks gorgeous. But the problem is that the performance is just not right, and the license is interesting. Basically, the clouds are free to use unless you get money from it. So if you earn money from the project you're working on, you have to pay $100, which is reasonable if you earn money off of it. But given the performance was just not that right, well, I decided to go with a simpler solution, which I will show you in just a moment. Then the water is the Shader Forge water shader, which is really awesome, and it looks really great. So basically all I did was using free tools, with exception of this water shader. It was because the shader needed to be recompiled for the newer version of Unity to work just perfectly. So I have Shader Forge. So I imported the nodes, the shader, and recompiled. And well, you don't have to do anything. It will be available for you to download without the need to recompile. And yep, these are basically the things. These are basically the things out of the internet. Then we move to the awesome thing called Asset Store. So the first thing that is not available by default, it is not bundled by default, but is available and made by Unity, is the post-processing stack. It's amazing. It's the thing that if I go to my video, let me just show you the comment. Thanks for the guess, by the way. Basically, I think it's CryEngine because the water shading, the motion blur, the clouds, and lighting. Unity isn't impressive when it comes to water, lighting, and motion blur, which is showed otherwise. Motion blur is in the post-processing stack and it looks great. Though, as everyone says, motion blur is not good for games, but for demos, it's great. And that's a point. Well, I actually forgot depth of field, I think. Yeah, I forgot depth of field. Well, whatever. It would look even better with it. So motion blur is now good in Unity. Unity hired these professional people to develop this post-processing stack. One of the best people in the industry. So they hired these people and they made this amazing stack. Previously it was cinematic effects or something like that. Legacy cinematic effects. Previously it was this by these people, but well, it was pretty much like the old effects. It was not optimized for mobile and stuff like that. But the post-processing stack changes everything. Though for some reason, AI adoption does not work in the editor. Um, it's Linux editor experimental build, so yeah. But works in the build, so it's disabled for now. Uh, so the post-processing stack, and then we have some textures and stuff like that, and also clouds, just clouds. I just looked for clouds and I set to free, and that was pretty much the first result I clicked on, and it was good. It looked good, and it actually is good. I think what I could do is actually move it down to 0 or 10, because on 30 you can see it gets like cut off. Maybe there should be like a gradient thing. So basically these clouds is a model which with a sky dome which has a basic shader, so f star 2D clouds with these textures, and it just like it changes the offset, and yeah, basically it changes the offset, and you can see just fades the textures. Using different textures it makes different effect, and it does the job. I mean, it's a sky dome, so if you have a really big world, like in my game I work on, it might not work. You might actually need to move the thing with the camera, but also you might need to modify the shader to use world coordinates and stuff like that. So some modification would be needed for a huge world, but for this small demo, it looks great, it works great, and it is just great. I mean, you can see how customizable it is, like density, and you can just change the alpha to make it less transparent. So yeah, like this you can make it really like like this. So you can just do all sorts of things with it. Then speaking of textures, we have some things like, so the textures are basically taken from all over the place. We have here. So we have some textures from Yugis. It's a really nice publisher. Uh, lots of free stuff. Lots of free stuff, really. Just look at this. You can build the whole game out of this free stuff available, and ground textures, concrete, sand, wood, all sorts of things. But there's other asset which I might show. Texture. Let me just look for texture. Well, let's see. Okay, so texture. Let's see what we have. I don't know. So there was this. Okay. So we have more stuff. So advanced terrain shaders. I use this just for the foliage texture, this thing, and that was it. I did not use the shader itself because, well, it's made for Unity 3.4.2, and now standard shader probably is better than this one. But yeah, I use this. Then we have dynamic clouds, Bruton's ocean atmosphere. I might show you, but I did not use it. I did not use it. Well, basically, it was created by Squarks, and it's the guy who created a really nice ocean system, but, well, it's just not that right. Well, let me just show you. It is not perfect. I mean, the shader messes up a little bit. It messes up a little bit. So yeah, then there's more, so I just delete this. Maybe I will just delete it. Well, I don't need it. So then we have more stuff made by Unity from that store, and that is particle effects, something like this. Free stuff. We are cheap. Free stuff. Unity particle pack. This thing, just download it. It has fire, smoke, all sorts of cool stuff, and that's great. Yep. Then we have FPS graph analyzer. FPS graph. I googled something like, search for something like this, and I think this is the one. Yeah, just get this one for the FPS graph. And ground texture stack. Yeah, ground texture stack. Just and free stuff. Very cheap. Natural tiling textures. This is the thing. This is the thing I used for the cliff texture and I think sand. Well, this one I don't really remember. This was from someone else. I might find and link it. But well, ground textures pack. I'm not sure. It must be somewhere. But well, it's just some texture. So code 80 clouds. Let me just show you clouds examples demo. Let's save it. And just look how gorgeous they are. Well, at this point they don't look really well, but okay. So they look gorgeous when set up properly, but the performance is just not good. And some glitches on Windows that they get drawn on top of trees and stuff like that. Screw them. I don't need it. Okay, well, let's open the demo scene. Don't save. Okay. Oh, well, we screwed up the sky. Whatever. Refresh. Lighting settings. Well, I screwed up the sky. A skybox. Well, let's go with the default skybox. It will be a little bit different when I put it on GitHub. Yeah, I need to create a skybox material because to get high quality this sun thing, so just sky, well, high, good enough. Let me just go to skybox, procedural, and high quality. That's the thing. Okay, so yeah, we have this natural tiling textures, models, 14 models, props. Oh, this is the Vikings demo. Vikings, I don't know. Vikings village. This thing also made by Unity themselves. It really is awesome. So some props used in the scene. It has some cheap again. Speaking of models, I have also used rocks and boulders by this awesome guy. I think first or second. Either of these by this awesome guy creates awesome content. Then we have here we go, rocks and boulders. Sand texture pack from somewhere. Let me just search sand texture pack. Maybe we will find it. And free, well, nope, it's somewhere. Then we have some standard assets imported. built-in stuff. Stylized foliage, so some this is unused. So yeah. So terrain assets, this is the thing that probably, well, I'm not sure if I really used any of these, but this thing is not available anymore, but the texture quality is real poor, so I don't know if you should care about that. These are some grass textures, but very poor quality. Um, then we have textures. I don't know. So this is the water shader I talked about, and I just recompile these things to make them work fine. Then volumetric lights. So yeah, basically that is it. And then what I did was just I imported the whole height map to GIMP. Well, what I did was I went to terrain and exported a raw file. I imported it to GIMP. So once I imported it, I googled an island height map, a grayscale height map. So I downloaded it, I imported it, and basically that was it. I just re-exported the file using the same settings and just re-imported the raw file. So that was it for the uh, for the height map. Then what I did was I added the textures. So I added the ground textures, the sand. It took quite some time to choose the right texture, but I got it. And then I added grass, I added cliff texture, I added this ground path texture, and I just painted it all. So I think at first it was uh, let me just check. Yeah, at first it was sand everywhere, so I just painted on top a grass texture, really basic stuff, and then I corrected the sand texture around just to make sure the grass does not touch the ocean, and I painted this cliff texture right here. So yeah, that was the thing I painted. Then what I did was I added all these grass textures, which are 4 grass textures, so not 5, not 3, because 4 is really good number. It allows to, it's a single pass splatting for the single pass grass placement thing. So pretty good performance and less resources. So 4 different textures. So I set them to be quite small. So minimum width 0.1, maximum width 0.5, minimum height 0.1, maximum height 0.2, noise spread 0.1, and I unchecked billboard, and I set the health color to white and dry color to a bit yellowish, and pretty much similar settings for all grasses. The default settings for grasses, all the width and height are just ridiculous. You need to make it really small and have it dense to make it look good. So the smaller the grass and the more of it is, it looks better. So I couldn't get it denser. Actually, I could a little bit, but so that was the size I came up with, and it looked good. So the problem with Unity actually is it's a great engine, but the terrain engine is, oh boy, it's terrible. It's awful. I mean, it does the job, but there are things that are just bad. If you want to create a 8 by 8 kilometers land from single terrain, and if you want to have a lot of grass, dense grass, you will need to put around 20 different grass textures, 20 different, to just have it dense enough, because for some reason Unity cannot do it denser than it already is. It does a lot of passes, bad performance, and just stutters happen. But for this demo, the grass is just, well, enough. There's enough of grass right here, and it's just good enough. I mean, well, that's fine. But for bigger terrain, the terrain engine won't really cut the actual grass. Without it, it's okay, but the grass just is a performance hog actually, using the default terrain engine. But for this demo, the resolution of the terrain is pretty high per unit square meter, so this was enough. So then I just painted all the grass, painted the pathway, removed the grass from the pathway, and then, or before, I actually painted the trees. So the palm trees are basically, one is speed tree, the more yellowish ones and smaller ones are speed trees. They're really good, and they're included in the standard assets or in the asset store. And the other ones is from Yugi's, I think Yugi's palm, I think, well, just palm tree. Yeah, Yugi's free palm trees. They're good enough. They look good. I mean, yeah, they look good, and that's all nice. So I placed all the trees, all around the place. So the grass, don't think that I painted all the terrain with grass. As you can see right here, it just ends up, and no more grass visible. So I painted it until the invisible walls, which I will talk in a moment, and then just a little bit further, just to not make it like disappear. So in the distance of disappearing, so when you wouldn't notice that there's not any grass there. So yeah, so I painted the trees, which are all nice all around the place. So yeah, it looks good. So the grass is done. Then what I did, I placed all these lamps. I had to modify it so that I had to modify the lamps so that shadows are disabled and the lights are enabled. And after that, it was all great and fine. Then I created a little campfire with these wooden things, so that the fire itself works just fine, as you can see. Oops. So the fire works just fine, and all the wood is just to make the campfire not empty, and it has rigid body to have physics, pretty basic stuff. And after that, I placed rocks. Lots of rocks. It took quite a while. It could have been much faster using Jenna, I believe, but there are two things I have to say. First of all, I don't have Jenna, which is a spawner on terrain thing. And the second thing is that I wanted to make it that using free tools so that you would be able to reproduce the same thing without paying a dime. And yeah, so I put all these rocks. Before that, I put the rocks in a single game object, so I could disable them and just to keep them nice and tidy. And before that, what I did was I added these invisible walls. Let me just show you. So these are just cubes stretched high up and quite thin, to make sure the player cannot escape. That's basically the thing. So you cannot just go to place where I was too lazy to put some grass on. And yeah, that's basically it. It's invisible, just like the name Invisible Wall says. And yeah, I mean, well, that's it for the wall. Nothing too special about it. Then moving to the player. Moving to the player, we have this, I think, FPS controller guy. Where is it? Where is he? Rigid body FPS controller. So I just put it here and I put the camera inside. And yeah, and I put this particle effect, which comes with the particle pack, which spawns these dust motes, as you can see. And I just set the simulation space to world to make that those dust does not follow the character but still spawns around it. Speaking of the camera, we have just basically the camera, a volumetric light renderer component, and post-processing behavior. So basically these are two post-processing effects that I added. I will talk about the post-processing behavior now. So post-processing profile basically is a place where you set all the settings for the post-processing, and you can just swap the profiles in and out really easily, and change them inside the game as well. So basically, let me just show you some basic things. You can see ambient occlusion, enable, disable. You can see this change thing. Well, I would need to click to make it all look fine. But yeah, ambient occlusion, you can make the thing really intense. Really intense. Also, but that's not realistic. That's really unrealistic. It's a beta version of Unity experimental build that's messing things up. But yeah, you can see screen space reflections, which pretty much do nothing really. Why I even have them enabled? I missed depth of field actually. I could make the aperture go like this. Camera FOV, aperture like this. Focus distance, just change the focus point, and yeah, it looks really great, really. Motion blur, it's a thing that works really nice. You can just change shutter angle, sample count, then color grading. You can see the difference. The difference color grading. So this is default. So this is default, and yeah, color grading just makes it much better. Eye adoption, well, it does not work with the with the experimental build of Unity for Linux. Anti-aliasing, you can see the temporal anti-aliasing. If I disable it, well, you can see some flickering. I would just need to, well, okay, well, it's interesting. This stuff is interesting. When it messes up, it really is interesting. Okay, so here we go. No anti-aliasing. This is temporal one. As you can see, it becomes better and better after some time. FXAA, it's pretty bad. So temporal is really nice. And yeah, I mean, other than that, there are more settings. And it took quite a while to set things up. But after a while, I got them just right. I could enable disable bloom. Well, if I clicked and made everything go away. So the bloom, I went with like a low intensity, low threshold bloom. So that, well, it's quite natural and stuff like that. I could go with higher threshold and a bit higher intensity. That would be maybe good. And anti-flicker. You could actually enable anti-flicker. That's maybe better. If you get flickers, just enable this one. And there's also user LUT, but you need texture chromatic aberrations. You can just enable them, and you can see it squeezes the colors a little bit out on the edges. Grain, you can see once I move the mouse into the updates, looks like filmic, and just lower the intensity to have a subtle effect. Finite, well, I decided not to do this. Dithering, I really don't know what it does actually. It does something. It does something, but yeah, it took quite a while to set it up, and but the end result is great. So now this is basically the whole thing that I showed you. No, not all. Then we go to the sun. This is where things get a little bit more interesting. This is the last part. So we have this volumetric light, which, let me just show you. Well, it does not do much once paused, but these are the settings that look great and are great. Let me just play it to show you how it all looks and feels. So yeah, I would just need to look away for a moment. So here we go. So we have this volumetric light thing going on. Enabling disabling it does not work, but what you can do, in fact, is actually a little bit different. You can change that scattering. So yeah, you can increase it really a lot, and just make the effect look really visible. Also the stars, I will have to talk about those. The stars are not really perfect, but well, they do the job sort of, you know. So yeah, it looks pretty good. Well, not these settings. Then we have extinction coefficient, which is where it's in shadow, it gets like extinct stuff. Skybox extinction thing. Well, my G is basically the setting where it sets the place where it's mostly scattered. So one is basically from the sun, then 0 is out from the sun. So I keep it around 0.3 looks good. Height scale, so height based fog, it basically, the higher you are, the less fog it is. Ground level just sets for the height based fog, but it's quite messed up. Noise, it's basically a scale for the noise. The higher the scale, the more noise there is. Yeah, and the intensity of noise. Yeah, basically that's it for this. Now let me just show you how the PCSS works. And PCSS is just basically a component on any light, only for one light. You attach the PCSS thing only on one light, and it will apply for all directional lights. So just disabling it, you can see, oh my god, the ugly shadows of Unity. That's ugly. really ugly. And just enabling it makes it much better instantly. So yeah, it's good. And you can change the settings of softness, like you can see softness fall off. So the higher the fall off, the quicker it becomes soft. Basically, it's like a sun size. The bigger the sun, the higher the fall off should be. So you can see right here it's pretty hard and it gets really soft right here. So yeah, and cascade blend distance, all sorts of things. That's basically it. That's basically the PCSS, and it looks amazing. That's one thing for sure. And the performance is not really that affected on NVIDIA hardware, at least. But you know, PCSS is NVIDIA's thing, so you can enable, disable it. Yeah. Then we have this time cycle script, which is my custom script. Nothing too special. Well, it just moves the sun around. Basically it. Yeah, I should set the thing just to show you how the thing moves. Probably 600 is the thing that I should be with. So this moves the sun. I forgot to set the setting. And yeah, it works, I guess. Yeah, it really does work. And it's really nice. So you can change the settings and stuff like that. And you can still move the sun. So yeah, you can see that volumetric lights. Really nice. So that's basically it. I mean, this is the whole setup for this demo. And yeah, it just proves that Unity is an engine capable of doing such things, though you have to find the things yourself. So yeah, basically this is it. This is the demo. This is how I do the thing. Everything will be available on GitHub, free of charge to download. You can do whatever with it you want. Just there are things that uh, eh, my stuff is going to be released under MIT, but this demo is built from many third-party stuff, which basically means that, well, different licenses apply. That's basically it. So as you can as you knew, as you saw, um, the GitHub stuff is mostly real good for use in commercial stuff, and from Asset Store, well, things from Asset Store are using the Asset Store license, so it's good for commercial use as well. And yeah, basically this is it. And thanks for watching. And what I'm going to do in the future is more Unity 3D videos. Basically, I'm planning of a series of small investments to make the game look really great on Unity. So, for example, one of the first things to improve the terrain engine would be RTP, and it looks gorgeous. And there are other things that could be purchased to improve Unity really a lot. So I'm going to make that series, and there's also other things coming up with Linux. I just I just finished putting my old computer to a small case. A video might come up soon. Also, I'm planning on installing Linux on my old laptop, so that might also come up sometime. And there's other things regarding Linux, and also things with Unity, a lot of things with Unity. So if you like the thing that I uploaded right here, just subscribe and stay tuned for my other videos. Also, if you don't mind, share this video. It would help really a lot for everyone. Thanks, and see you later. My name is Heap, and I'm out.